let's start out. Let's just go over. I don't know. It's been a while since you've seen last week's show, Brian. So let's just go over the AEW program from August 4th, the high points, if you can call them that.
I was high.
Well, Chris Jericho and Juventud Guerrera. Before I say a word, tell me what you thought of that match.
I thought, and I was surprised that everyone didn't think this, that it was a train wreck. I thought the first couple of minutes were especially embarrassing, where I blame Jericho a lot more than Juvi.
Juvi looked better than Jericho did.
Jericho looked slow. Wherever he was trying to get to, whatever place he thought he should be in, it looked like he was taking him forever to get there. And at one point when Juvi was going off the rope and Jericho was clearly signaling him to go off the rope onto him.
Yes.
It was really bad. I thought the whole thing was embarrassing. It didn't remain as bad as the match went on, but you know my thoughts. Jericho is not very good in the ring nowadays, and part of the problem is other guys in previous generations, when they got older, adapted their style because they had to. Jericho is still trying to do shit that he can't do anymore, and
but if you notice, and once again, I'm not, it's out there, it's on television. I'm not making this up. He's taken every shortcut he can. He shoots somebody off. He doesn't fucking take two steps. He just grabs their arm and they go. He's trying to cut corners that won't be noticed to conserve every bit of energy he can, but in the process, it looks like he's working in quicksand. But the whole thing is, wait a minute, you said most people, who saw this match and thought that it was what it was supposed to be?
I saw some people that were getting critical of the people that were critical of the early portions of this match, saying it was a great match and it told a story and it was wonderful to see Juvi versus Jericho in 2021 on TNT. And I've seen people try to put a positive spin on this. I thought it was a train wreck.
Okay, well, people say I'm stuck in the past. Cornette's stuck in the past. I'm not the one that just booked two 50-year-old men to go out there and try to do lucha because they had good TV matches 25 years ago. This is not Bobo Brazil and the Sheik. This is not Vern Gagne and Nick Bockwinkel. This is not Bruiser and Bobby Heenan. It's not the Midnight and Rock and Roll Express. They had some good matches 25 years ago. If you were a really diehard fan that either watched all of WCW or independent Japan, you would have fond remembrances of their matches that they had 25 years ago. But now it was a single match on national television where the two competitors had a real combined age of 97. It's great for a Legends match at a fan fest or a special event like that, but a lucha match on national TV with a win off the top rope stipulation, what the fuck are they doing? At one point, Juvi tried a Hurricane Rana off the top rope to the floor, and there's Jericho. As he's coming off the top, Jericho it looks like he's going to catch him like they catch the girls the cheerleaders at the football games, right? In his arms outstretched. And it was supposedly, I guess, going to be a Hurricane Rana. But Juvi, not being a horseshoe expert, came down on the side of Jericho. His legs missed his neck, and it just looked like a flying bulldog, and they fell in a heap. And then they both worked hard, and they both did the best they can do at this point. But did I mention it's 50-year-old men trying to do lucha on national TV? They should not have had this match. And by the later stages, I thought the first part was bad. By the later stages, Jericho was in quicksand. And at one point, Juvi tries another Hurricane Rana off the top rope, and they collapsed in a heap, and Jericho recovers by getting the walls, which was that's what they were trying to do, and they eventually got it. The best part of this match was MJF calling Aubrey Edwards a floozy. So then Juvi almost killed Jericho with some kind of DDT thing and then hit a Juvi driver for a 2 count. This had already gone way too long. And then Jericho hit Judas, but had to come off the top to win the match, move off the top. So he did the Judas off the top. Think about this. He hit his Judas elbow that's knocked everybody else out. He has to win off the top rope. Why didn't he just climb up and splash the guy? Well, the guy takes the Judas, we're never going to see Juventud Guerrera again. So he takes Jericho's finish that he's knocked everybody in the world out with, but seconds later he has to stand back up so Jericho could hit him with one off the top rope, and then 1, 2, 3. And then Wardlow comes in and kicks the shit out of Jericho, and next week is challenge number 4 for Jericho. Okie dokie. Thank you for coming. I'm glad that the owner of the company is one of the only fans left of WCW Thunder. There was a 6-man tag match. Moxley, Kingston, and Darby Allin wrestled 3 unknown nondescript white guys. I skipped it. Christian
I loved
Cage,
it. Let me stop you right there.
Did you watch this?
I loved that 6-man tag match.
What? What happened?
You know what? I never saw one of the guys on the other team. You said 3 unknown guys. No, it was that team from NXT. What were they called? Never Rise or whatever?
Ever Rise.
Well, funny enough, Never Rise
will never rise.
It was them under their old name, 2.0. And in this match, they showed more charisma and more ability, I think, than anything we ever saw with them in NXT. Especially the one, and I don't know their names, but the bigger one, who showed more natural charisma and more ability to get people interested in him, I thought, than he ever showed in NXT. I was very happy to see them here. I was very happy to see them the next week. And whoever that third guy teaming with them was, skinnier guy, but I actually liked him. I thought he looked like he took it seriously in the ring, and he looked like he could kick some ass. So I thought it was good.
Oh, boy. Well, I'm sorry I missed it then, but Moxley was in it. So we,
it was
aired
good.
On the side of safety.
It was good. It was good.
Christian Cage wrestled the Baker with the Bunny, and Cage jump-started it. The babyface jump-started it on the ramp, and they went back and forth. Where is the Butcher? And why is the Blade still the Blade if he doesn't have the Butcher? Why is the Blade? Why is the Blade the Blade? What is the Blade? Who is the Blade? Let me clarify this. Cage won.
I remember the Blade rope. I'm not sure about the Blade, but I believe the Butcher's on tour because he's a musician. He's in a band.
Well, good. Maybe they'll be very successful. They did a great package on Cash's arm injury, and the Hook did it somehow. And where they found a turnbuckle with a hook that will impale a man's arm, I don't have any fucking idea, but it looked goddamn disgusting.
Unfortunately, this was clipped because from the little bits we saw, this was easily the best promo Dax has done in AEW. He seemed
yeah.
I mean, he was on fire here. He was great. I wish we could see more of this.
Well, and Santana and Ortiz are good too. And they did one on the next week's show also. These little it's a 1-minute package on this horrible injury and this tag team rivalry. And they don't give it any more time, obviously, because they have to have My Little Dog Pockets come out 3 times on every show. And the Elite has to go 30 minutes and do everything that's ever been heard of. So there's no time for, FTR and Santana and Ortiz, for heaven's sake. We've heard now that Paige is off for maternity leave.
Paternity.
I'm not making this up.
Not maternity, paternity.
Well, his wife's having a baby. That's maternity leave. He's taking time off. He don't need to be there. He's done his job.
If she takes a leave from work, it's maternity leave. His leave is paternity leave. I can't even say it. Paternity leave. There we go.
How about then the baby face that they've been stringing along and mostly buried already anyway is just saying, fuck it, I'm going home and sitting around for however long. Good God, I'm glad he didn't work for Dusty Rhodes. If you were lucky and you knew either ahead of time or you were close enough to home, you could get the night off when your kid was born. The day after your kid was born, you're in a main event in Greensboro, get a fucking nanny. But anyway.
But it is different times, and I'm assuming Tony Khan is perfectly fine with this. And the other thing is, based on the booking of Omega, and we'll talk about the other Dynamite and Rampage, maybe it does help and make some sense to have Adam Page off TV for a little while until you get these other belts off Omega. And then you have Adam Page ready to take the other one off him, but you also have to integrate, we assume, CM Punk and Daniel Bryan into the top mix. Maybe it is a good time to get Adam Page off TV for a few minutes. Get him away from the Dark Order for a few minutes.
I won't argue that it's probably best for Adam Page that he appear as little on this television program as possible. However, they work one day a fucking week. It's fixed to be 2 days a week. How much leave do you have? Go home, have the baby, come back, make the pay-per-view. They got airplanes in this country. You go back home. My God. If it's not like they're on the road every day, 7 days a week, 30 days a month, like in the old days. They don't have anything to leave and go home to. They're home most of the time, and they cry about the schedule. My God. Anyway, the Elite and various of their stooges, but Don Fallis wasn't on this one, confronted Page, and Twinkle Toes did the soap opera bullshit. He's trying to find himself, all this soft soap fucking drama horse shit that they've sprinkled into this thing to keep Page from looking like a man. Then they beat him up. Then the Hardley Boys gave him 3 of those shitty looking little knees. While he's on his knees, they're holding his hands and they just knee lift some area around his head. And then Harpo hit him with the title belt and left him laying there. And not even with good looking shit. So thanks for coming at him. Miro was up next against Lee Johnson. You know, Shoddy Lee. He's very shoddy. And Miro looks more like a monster now, I wrote in here, but it took forever before he beat little old skinny Lee Johnson. I zoned out and really didn't pay a lot of attention, but did I miss anything?
Too many leg slaps from Lee Johnson. He's got to work on that. It's on every single thing he does. Everything he does, leg slap. And
boy, when he does the headbutt, it really stands out when he slaps his leg. I've noticed that Excrement, the masked sock-faced announcer, continually says backstage. We're going backstage, or they're backstage like it's a fucking game show. Because since he got in the business through marks and was a mark and still is a mark, he talks like a mark and says backstage instead of locker room area because it's a fucking game show to them. The Bunny competed against Layla Hirsch with Pockets and the Goofy Friends, and Hirsch's corner people were enough to skip this, but you threw in a break. It was 12 minutes of national TV time they gave to the Bunny versus Layla Hirsch. And then Camille, the NWA women's champion, is there, and she got in the ring in heels, and she's 6 feet tall anyway, and Layla Hirsch is 4'10", so this looked ridiculous. And the poor NWA, they traded Thunder Rosa for Camille. I met Camille. She's a nice woman. Her promos are robotic, and she's a bodybuilder with big tits, but I haven't seen a goddamn match that I would write home about. And now they're going to put her in the ring with this girl that's a foot and a half shorter than she is. This is going to be interesting. All righty.
They're spending a lot of time promoting other promotions on AEW TV. Do you think any of this is the Vince McMahon All-American Wrestling strategy?
No, I think it's let's take advantage of this fucking billionaire goof who marks out for having multiple promotions represented on his television show so we can get some publicity out of it because none of us have a national TV show of our own thing. That's what I think it is. And we'll talk about that here in a second. Cody versus Malachi Black. I think I like Malachi Jones better for a name, but nevertheless, sounds like an old Western sidekick. Well, there's old Malachi Jones. Everybody was talking about this and what happened. I'm not sure that I see how Paul Lee thought that this was the guy to beat Brock Lesnar or that he was going to sell Vince McMahon on that. And he didn't, which is why they went with Drew McIntyre. But in this environment, he looks like a badass. And he's big enough because everybody else is so small, and he's got all the tattoos and the weird eye and a different style of working. So he's different and he stands out. I thought that they'd almost shit the bed when Cody went to the top rope and Malachi jumped up and kicked him, and Cody paused for the 2 seconds and then sprang off the top and went through the table. It was almost a fucking dive like into a pool.
Cody threw himself through the table.
Yes. And I mean, after a hesitation. So, and then he milks the count out and crawls in to beat the count, and Malachi Black hits his kick, which was nice looking and fairly close, and put his foot on his chest 1, 2, 3 and pins Cody. And then leaves so that then Cody can do the emoting. He does the promo where he's selling and he's down and he's defeated.
And by the way, I have to commend AEW's medical team. You saw the condition Cody was in, throwing a child's crutch into the ring. Brilliant move I never would have thought of to help this victim. Great job.
Well, that's the thing. There's Tony Schiavone in the ring, and there's Cody selling, and Tony hands him a fucking crutch for a midget. The crutch was no more than 3 feet tall and it looked like a toy. And he's obviously, he was trying to lean on it and figure out how to, because it's been handed to him on live TV, and then he put it in the corner. And of course, it was supposed to be used later on, but I'm sure they envisioned an actual crutch and not, what Tiny Tim hobbled to the Christmas tree with on Saturday or on Christmas morning. And and then explain the line to me. He said, Cody said to Tony, all I wanted to do was win the title they took away from my daddy in the garden.
I don't know what garden he's speaking of. And I can't imagine what title he's speaking of. His father, of course, wrestled Billy Graham for the title several times in 1977, 78. And then I don't think he ever got another title shot in the garden.
But it's a great babyface line. All I wanted to do was win the title they took away from my daddy in the garden. I can hear Dusty saying it, but nobody ever took the title away from Dusty in the garden or anywhere else. Anyway, so he says that he's got the midget crutch. This promo took longer than the match. He gave a long AEW rah-rah speech and started teasing it was time to hang it up, retirement. He takes off one of his boots, and then Malachi comes in and grabs the midget crutch and whacks him over the fucking back with it and steals his boot. Nobody thought, okay, we need a crutch. Anybody got a crutch? Don't have a crutch? We got a problem. Nobody thought, hey, we got a crutch. Anybody got a crutch? We got a crutch. What's crutch look like? Is it long enough that Cody could conceivably lean on it without bending over? And so that brought an element of comedy into Malachi Black's evisceration of Cody Rhodes. But that was that show on August the 4th. That drew over 1 million people too. They're back down below 1 million. Until next week, when their new acquisitions will probably be starting, and they'll be back through the roof again for about 4 weeks until everybody figures out that this is going to be the same old shit with them. But that was that show. Closing thoughts on that program?
Well, I mean, going back to the Cody thing, again, he's been booed in recent weeks. Like I told you, I thought would happen before they went back to live shows. He's been booed. Malachi's been cheered. Malachi's clearly the cooler guy in the feud.
Yeah.
And Cody goes right to this fake retirement speech and litters in some stuff to make people think it could be real about fighting with the other executives and this and that. And then the Malachi, I don't know, it just felt like another Cody thing where there's an idea, and the idea may have at one point worked in classic wrestling, but it was probably applied in a completely different way, probably on more than one episode of a show. But Cody always... There's elements of old school wrestling in his stuff, but it always just kind of goes awry at some point. And then Cody gets to take another break. This happened last year with Brody Lee. It was the same time of year when he had to go film that TBS show where all of a sudden he's off TV.
How many times has this been now that somebody beat Cody in less than 5 minutes, right flat in the middle, and fucking boom, and then he goes off and does a TV show that they're promoting? He just got his ass kicked, and he's so upset about it, he's gone off to do a reality show. They're promoting this. You can't even hide. It's not like they've sent him to Amarillo to work the territory for 6 weeks while he's supposed to be injured, and nobody will know. They're promoting the show on the same. Oh my God,
I want to see what would happen if Cody Rhodes could work 6 weeks in a fucking row in front of those fans. I want to see what's going to happen because Cody is here and gone nonstop for the last year and a half. Since the pandemic started, since maybe right before it. He's been here and then he's gone. Then he pops back in, then he's gone. The booking's bad. The feuds are bad.
I'm just telling you right now, by the way, when this reality show, roads to Cleveland or whatever it is, I'll watch one just to get a good whiff of it, but I don't watch reality TV, and I'm especially not going to watch reality TV when it's an excuse for Brandy Runnels to have a television program.
I saw in the commercial, I think one of the quotes from her, I'm paraphrasing, was, we go out there and we break our necks for these people. And I'm thinking, no one's asking you to do that.
No, we're asking you to stay in the back and don't do anything for the people. Let the people fend for themselves.
Stay home, relax, take it easy. That's all we're asking you to do. Don't break your neck. Don't take any more bumps, ever. I'm okay with that.